I was listening to this debate, and I know that do I understand correctly that an office is being set up tasked with getting us is it 1 million electric vehicles by 2030 or something like that?
It's the ZEVI Low Emission Vehicles Office. It has been established in an administrative basis pending this legislation.
It simply beggars belief. I'm sorry, Minister. Again, I'm going to say that I admire your hopes and I admire your ambitions, but at some point, policy is going to have to be grounded in reality, in where we are. I don't have a problem with electric vehicles. I have a problem with forcing cars off the road because, you know, even now in rural Ireland, there are very few charging points. But there's a bigger problem. I mean, most people in this House would drive maybe 50,000 kilometres a year. I see Deputy Healy-Rae here. I don't know whether he might concur with me, or Deputy Daly, Deputy O'Rourke. A lot of people would. Most electric vehicles now have a lifespan of a maximum, I would have thought, of 250,000 kilometres, or at least that's what I was told at the Society of the Irish Motor Industry briefing. So we have an electric vehicle with a lifespan of 5 years, at which point it has to be completely gotten rid of and replaced. Now, it'll be recycled, but there's a huge amount of energy involved in recycling a vehicle. So, I mean, electric vehicles are fine for a certain quarter of the population, but if we have 1 million electric vehicles by 2030, has anybody thought of where the energy is going to come? 2030 is 8 years away. Have we any plan of... We're struggling to fuel the state this winter, and we're going to have 1 million electric vehicles by 2030, and the electricity is going to come from where? I am serious, and it's not that I deride the idea, the hope, the ambition, but, you know, only last year Equinor pulled out of the Irish wind energy market because apparently there was a complete lack of ambition to bring in the regulatory and planning reforms that are required. Today, the wind energy sector tell us that there's no ports in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, with the capacity to develop these huge, mammoth developments, offshore developments that are required if we're going to bring in wind energy in the scale that's going to provide this. So we've no ports, no regulatory structures, no planning structures, and an office tasked with getting 1 million electric vehicles by 2030. You know, is there going to be an office tasked with training pigs to fly by 2030? I'm genuinely baffled by the disconnect between where we're at and where we hope to get. And it seems to me that this government is just continuing on blithely unaware of that. And I don't, unfortunately, see the plans to tackle that. I do accept that it might be possible. I do accept that Ardnacrusha went from conception to being commissioned and fueling the energy needs of this state in the time period that you're talking about, which is 8 years. But I simply don't see any sign of anything like that happening today. And on that basis, I just think this amendment is as useful as an amendment providing for pigs driving cars or pigs flying, and the necessity, the absolute necessity to regulate that. I'm sorry. And on that basis, I have to oppose the amendment.